Hello everybody, and welcome to ZookaMan Streaming, where I get in your replays to be casted for my entertainment, and hopefully to help you improve a little bit as well. I'm your host, ZookaMan. We're going to be going into a TVZ. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our players. In the bottom 5, 6 o'clock is... Let's try that again. In the bottom 5 or 6 o'clock position, we have ChanKiM as the red Zerg player, and his opponent on the opposite side of the map, we have UnicMarinE from the clan Unic. I'm going to be having a pretty interesting little clan tag there. So, TVZ. What are we seeing in the TVZ matchup? Well, Zerg players in general are favoring earlier hatcheries, at least from what I have seen lately, especially as you go up into the higher leagues. This is a diamond replay, if I remember correctly. It's either diamond or masters. I always have trouble differentiation between the two borders. But in high-level games, you're usually going to be seeing an earlier hatchery. You might be seeing earlier pool if you're looking to see aggression done from the Zerg player, which may or may not be happening here. ChanKiM going to be waiting for the expansion. I believe he is going to be going for a 15 hatch, is what I'm going to guess, because he does have that drone going to be going out down to that natural expansion. All fine and good. Going to be taking that in a little bit here. From the Terran side of the field, I like the fact that he's getting the refinery. Love the fact that he's getting the barracks, and like to see him go into. I would like to see factory coming up in a little bit here. And I like to see Widowmines or Siege Shanks being pushed out. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. They're pretty balanced. They both have their ups and downs on what they're good at and what they're not good at. So one of the two, would love to see to come out here moving into the mid game. Love to see an expansion come out from him as well after this Reaver gets across the field and gets the scout out a little bit. Zerg player is going to be getting his pool back home. Is going to be grabbing... Okay, no, I thought I saw him grabbing the gas. My bad, folks. He's not going to be grabbing gas, so we are probably going to see Metabolic Boost delayed for a little bit. Probably in preparation for a little bit more drone production, which is what we're going to be seeing ChanKiM decide to do with that. Meanwhile, the Reaper is going to be popping out for our Terran player now, and we'd love to see him move out to start taking his expansion, or even to that point, set one up into his main base. Either one would be perfectly acceptable at this point. We're going to be seeing an additional Reaper going to be added on for UnicMarinE. So he's going to be going for a 2 Reaper Scout. Not really anything out of the ordinary. Is going to be going for the expansion behind this. So he's going to be perfectly fine. Could use to see him start even placing down a bunker at this point to get ready for those Marines to come out and help out. Meanwhile, Reaper is going to be getting on the base. It's going to get scouted and done a little bit. Is going to be perfectly fine there. Zerglings don't even have speed yet. No gas has been taken, so... Zergling speed is going to be quite a bit delayed. You're going to probably have to wait till the queens pop up to really be able to take care of this. And they are just now going to be popping up, so not too big of a deal for the Zerg player. Factory coming up from UnicMarinE, would love to see him grab his second gas as when he goes on the advanced production of the mechanical units that he has as a Terran player. The extra gas is always a little bit helpful, and he is kind of floating, or he is kind of low on gas. So I'd love to see him take an additional gas geyser. Meanwhile, we're seeing an additional command center come out from UnicMarinE, which is kind of an interesting decision. If this is going for a really early third base, I don't necessarily agree with it. But if it's just sort of a way to get out some more SCVs, or even like a planetary for extra defense, that would be perfectly fine with that. Zerg player is not going to be having Metabolic Boost out on the field quite yet, is going to be getting his gases in his main base, and I'm assuming Metabolic Boost will be coming out shortly after that. No third base yet from him. He is going to delay that a little bit, probably for a couple of extra drones, a couple of extra queens, just to make sure that he's a little bit defended against any sort of like Reaper harass or anything that we're going to be seeing out of the Terran player. But we do see two Hellions popping out, and they're going to be moving out across the map fairly shortly here. Third base is on the way for ChanKiM back home. And the Hellions are going to be coming in with the Reapers and going to be able to get a little bit of damage done. But Hellions and Reapers not necessarily really what you want against a hatchery. Not really going to work all that well. We do have a couple queens coming down to defend against this base, but the base should be perfectly fine. Base is kind of in danger, but Hellions and Reapers aren't exactly the best for killing buildings. However, they are pretty good against killing units. Queen is going to be going... Oh, going to get trying to choose on there. Even going to be migrating back at the Hellion there from our Terran player. Both players going to be going for rather even trade. Nobody really lost anything. There's just a little bit of damage done to that third base. Meanwhile, we're going to be seeing the Reapers and the Hellions going into the natural. They're going to be doing a little bit of scouting off, but they're not really going to be able to do a whole lot of damage. Stim is going to be coming up behind this from the Zerg, or from the Terran player. Metablock Boost just about now finishing up. Layer coming up from the Zerg player as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him start laying down Evo Chambers and start going up on his upgrades. And even to that point, lay down maybe a Rotomortar or get his Mutalisk, his Spire for his Mutalisks. Either one will be perfectly acceptable at this point. And I'd like to see some more drones come out on the map. We already have 10 on this mineral patch. We'd love to see more. 5 more on the way. Fancy dancy. Great coming out from him. 38 to 57 harvesters in favor of our Terran player. But he's going to kind of rectify this by taking that third base. 1-1 coming out from our Zerg player and our Terran player at the same time here. And we are going to be seeing the bio upgrades coming out from our Terran player, which means that he's going to be transitioning into bio later here. Otherwise, he would have gone for a more mech-friendly sort of upgrades from there. Bunker is up back home. We do have a wall off with a couple of Spy Divas. Might have the Zerg be able to slip in through there. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think so now that I think about it. Zerg is going to get toasted alive in the middle of the map. We're going to see Burrow going to be coming out, as well as that pre-numerized carapace, which I believe is for the movement speed. Yes. Movement speed is the carapace, and then ventral sacs is for the dropping. It all makes sense now. Starboard coming up and down for our Terran player back home. A couple of additional barracks can be added on as well. We're seeing a light engagement here with the Zerglings and a couple of Hellions and Reapers in the middle of the map. But Terran player isn't really able to do a whole lot of damage here, and the Zerg player isn't really able to comfortably move out with basically the Zerglings that he has on the map at this point. That being said, we have 32 more coming out on the way. Spire is about halfway finished at this point, which means Unilists are going to be coming on the map fairly shortly. From UnicMarinE, I'd like to see him get more Marines out of the map, and even would even suggest him going up into Widowmine production and even possibly Thor production. That would be kind of a nice thing to see as well. Hellions are going to be getting quite a few good shots off on those Zerglings, but the Zerglings are going to decide to run into the natural expansion instead, but they're not really going to be able to do a whole lot of damage. Instead, going to going for those Hellions, which are going to be taking down a few of them, but the Hellions are going to be doing a lot of damage on the rest of the Zerglings. Zerglings should be able to clear up. Just need to be careful not to have his units get surrounded. Actually going to lose quite a few units here to the surround. That's not very good for our Terran player, and more Zerglings are streaming out across the map. This third base is suddenly in grave danger here. One Reaper, all that he has against the onslaught of the Zerg player. We do see about 10 Banelings to be put in at this point, while our Zerg player takes his fourth base back at home. That is about now he's going to be finishing up. And this push could end up being a lot more powerful than one would expect. We do see a light drop coming down into the third base back home. He's going to be getting a little bit of a surround there, but not really going to be doing as much. Oh, Banelings. Oh, Banelings are going to be avoided. One, I think, is going to splash prematurely. And suddenly UnicMarinE is going to be in a pretty good position here, going to be getting back his units. The Medivacs are in danger of falling, however, and the Zerglings and the Banglings are going to be able to clean up the rest of those Marines. Fourth base is up from our Zerg player at this point. He's going to continue up on the Mutalisk production and going to keep up with the Zerglings and Banglings. He's going to be looking to do a little bit of damage here. No missile turrets out across the map. We do have one coming up now, but not really going to be enough against the number of Mutalisks we see on the map. Mutalisks are going to be pulling away the army a little bit while the Zerglings and Banglings move in. Meanwhile, we have a massive drop coming in the main base back at home. Is going to get a little bit of damage done, but here comes the Mutalisk trying to do something here. And suddenly the Zerg player is kind of falling back here. Spawning Pool is in danger, is probably going to be saved. I can't imagine him losing that. One Marine is going to die a terrible, horrible death there. Left behind by his friends. The drone's going to be returning to line. You have 2 Orc Wars killed total from our Terran player, so really not really doing as much damage with these drops as he possibly could be. Not exactly the best position to be in. Terran player, I'd love to see him drop down to 4th base. Medevacs are a good thing. I'd love to see him even add in more Marauders to this army to kind of help against the Banglings. Also, I might like to see more Widow Mines and possibly even to that point Siege Tanks added on. Either one. More AoE to stop those Banglings from being able to do as much damage. Drilling Claws is going to be coming up from our Terran player. We do have 2-2 coming out. Mutals are going to be popping in, saying, hello, we're still here, and then going to run away over to the natural expansion to get a little bit of damage done. We do have a missile turret back home, which should defend against the Mutalists for a little bit, but not really that much. Additional Spire coming in from ChanKiM, so it looks like he's going to be wanting to go into upgrades here for his air units. 14 drones going to be popping out to that 4th base. He's going to be grabbing his gases down there as well. And this kind of shows me that he's probably wanting to go into either further Mutalist production, or he might want to go into like Corruptor or Broodlord production as well. We're going to be seeing a tiny drop coming up into the back. I think they got the Spire. Ooh, that's not good. Or was that the Bangling Nest? Something got killed there, guys. I'm sorry, I missed exactly what that was. Drop is going to be taken care of by the Mutalisk here, who are on 0-0, and they're going to be taking care of everything there. Spawning Pool. Spawning Pool is what got taken care of. No. The Spawning Pool is still okay. So he's getting an additional Spawning Pool for some reason. That being said, here comes ChanKiM looking to be in a... looking to be wanting to get a little bit aggressive here. Terran player, he's going to continue up on his bio. I think he kind of needs to take a 4th base. I like the fact that he's dropping, but I'd love to see a 4th base. I'd love to see more AoE into his army as opposed to just the kind of a massive bio. A couple of good splits are going to be coming up, getting 1 Marine with that Bangling. So not really going to be 100% well worth its buck. Ultra Marine going to be poking in. I'm kind of curious exactly why he's doing that. Because he's not really getting a lot done besides just the Marines! The Marines are bunched up! This is going to be a bad position if the Banglings get up on there. Terran player is going to be splitting up a little bit. Widow Mines are going to be going off on the units as well. Suddenly the Zerg player is still ahead. But the Terran player is going to be able to take quite a few hits there. Banglings are going to be cleaning up most of the rest of the army of Ultramarine, or UnicMarinE, excuse me, who's now going to be deciding to move out a little bit here. Meanwhile, we have a drop kind of dying over here in the main base. Didn't really get a whole lot of damage done. Meanwhile, UnicMarinE going to be moving in with the units he has. Is going to be throwing off his Widow Mines. Oh! Ow! Lots of Bangling hits are going off all those Marines. The Widow Mines not really going to be as effective as they should have been. And suddenly the Marines are going to be targeted down by the Zerglings and the Banglings. And that's not a good position to be in as a Zerg, or as a Terran player, excuse me. That 4th base is going to be in, or 3rd base is going to be in major danger here. Less than 100 supply from our Terran player is going to be macroing out more Marines, but I don't think that really is what he needs right now. Even going to be going for the Contaminate on the Orbital Command, ChanKiM. Terran player, I would like to see him get a little bit more tankier units. I'd love to see additional Marauders added into this army, once again, because I think it would help against the Banglings. I would also like to see, even to that point, Thors would be a good idea against this number of Mutalisks. But the Terran player is going to be moving into this 4th base. I'm not necessarily sure I agree with this. There are quite a few units on the map, and not to mention that there are quite a few Zerglings and Banglings being remacroed out at this point. Suddenly the Terran player is going to be pretty much abandoning the units down here, and he's dropping again down below 100 supply. Not really able to catch a break here. You're going on 3-3 for him. I don't believe the Zerg player is on 2... Let's find out. 2-1. He's on 2-1 for his Carapace, or Carapace and melee, or melee and Carapace technically because of the order I picked. But still, we're going to be seeing additional Widow Mines, additional Marines going to be macroed out. But once again, I think that's kind of not exactly what he needs. He needs more here. A couple of good Widow Mine shots are going to be going off on those Marines, which are going to get quite a few of those. But the bunker is going to fall down. That 3rd base is going to be in major danger. And the Bangling is even going to be splashing off on some of the SCVs. And UnicMarinE going to be dropping again below 100 supply. Going to be losing that 3rd base, the Mutalist pressure. And that's really not very good for him. And the Mutas might just kind of win the game right here. The Terran player needs to get Thors up to help deal with the Mutalisk. I would like to see even Vikings to that point being researched out as well to help against these Mutalisks. Because the Mutalisks are kind of the big thing here. Yeah, the Banglings are important as well. But if he gets Marauders into his army, he should be perfectly fine against them. The Mutalisks are getting very high in number, and they're going to be a problem here. Meanwhile, we have... I'm assuming that's GG. I really do assume that was GG. So, what can we learn from this game? First of all, from the Terran side of the field, he kind of stayed on the biomine a little bit longer than he should have, which is a little bit of a problem there. That combined with the fact that he was behind a base of his opponent, he didn't ever try to take a fourth base, and his drops didn't really do as much damage as he needed to because of the fact that those Mutalisks were on the field. And the Banelings were able to get a lot of good connects off on the army, which I think was a lot of the problem, which was a lot to do, in fact, with the problem of so many Marines in his army, but not anything really tanky. There weren't any Marauders, there weren't even any, like, Thors, there weren't any siege tanks. There wasn't really anything tanky in his army, so the Mutalisks and Banglings, and even to that point, Zerglings, were able to do a ton of damage. Another thing, in fact, is this is kind of apparent as well because of the fact that he's banking so much gas. He's got 2,000 gas in his bank right now, off of four fully functional refineries. Actually, his main base looks like they mined out. So, definitely with more mechanical units would he be able to take care of that gas count a little bit better. Now, looking at the Zerg side of things, I do like the decision to go for the Mutalisks, Banglings, and Zerglings. I would have liked to see even Hive Tech out a little bit sooner, and possibly going up to the 3-3. Even if you wanted to go into Ultralist production as well, is a little bit undersaturated at this base over here. Could use to get that saturated. I mean, even at this point, he would be able to afford a 5th base and still kind of roll over his opponent. So, with that being said, guys, I think that's going to be it for tonight. As always, if you enjoyed the cast, please comment, like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you on the next cast.